Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Mike here at Game From Scratch. If you're an Unreal Engine developer, yesterday was just an amazing day. We saw the announcement of Unreal Engine 5 with some amazing new technology, basically allowing unlimited polygons and dynamic lighting in a scene. Kind of a game changer there if it comes to be. We also got word that the revenue cap was being raised to $1 million, and we also heard about Epic Games' online services finally being live. And that last one kind of got lost in the mix because I got to admit, those other announcements were pretty epic. So what we're looking at now is that little lost in the cracks thing. Back in Unreal Engine's GDC 2019 keynotes, they announced a couple of major programs. One was Mega Grants. So Mega Grants was, yeah, that was pretty big. They gave like $1 million to Blender. They gave some to the Godot Game Engine, a bunch of really cool things. Armory Paint got a grant. So they've been really funding game development since then. Chaos Physics, their new destructive physics engine, that's actually just coming online right now. It's being used in production, but you got to build the source in 4.25. And then online services. And online services was kind of lost in the mix. And online services is all about all of those things that your game needs to do online. Matchmaking, leaderboards, persistent data, that kind of stuff. That's what online services is all about. It's not sexy, but you need it. And until now, a lot of companies have been offering this, and then many of them have gone out of business. And that kind of leaves you high and dry. And that's basically what Epic Games are offering. Oh yeah, and they're doing it for free. So yeah, so there was a little bit of a snag. So these were supposed to be out much earlier. So they first announced back in December of 2018. More details at GDC in March of 2019. And then we hit some delays going on. So it was going to be pushed back. Things were about a year longer than they were going to take. But as of today, they are here. So online services featuring Epic accounts and game services, March 13th. So yesterday, this is all ready now. With a few caveats. iOS and Android, not there yet. They're work in progress. Also, lobbies, I think, is something still being worked on. But everything else is here. So our mission is to enable developers to achieve the quality and depth of cross-platform experiences we built for Fortnite. And to make services available, yeah, for free, for use with all engines, all stores, and all account services. That means you want to make a Unity game that you publish only on Steam, but you want to use Epic's online services, you can. Pay them nothing. We'll get back to a little bit of why that is in just a few minutes. So again, here, what we provide all kinds of services. I'll get back to this in a minute. We're going to go into more details of that in a second, but they offer quite a few things. And Epic Account Services supports for cross-platform accounts, login, friends, presence, interop between console accounts. This is optional, by the way. You can pick and choose what you want to use out of this. So yeah, those are two separate things, by the way. So this game services aren't tied to the Epic Account Services, but Epic Account Services are available. So if you need to have a login, sort of like Xbox Live or PlayStation or Google OAuth kind of thing, you can use Epic Account Services there as well. And the big thing that probably many of you are probably asking is, all right, why? What does Epic get out of this? And, well, I just went straight to the source and asked Tim. And the amazing thing about Tim Sweeney, I know he's a polarizing figure. I don't honestly get why. I've been nothing but impressed with him, to be honest. He responds, and he responded within, I think, about 20 minutes of the question. I said, could you explain what Epic gets out of Epic online services being free? I think that would assuage some people's trust issues to understand what Epic got out of this beyond altruism, because nobody really trusts altruism in this day and age. And his response was, when developers choose to use Epic account services, all developers benefit from the new users and new social connections in the ecosystem, including us. See the fact at the bottom of this page, but a little bit more involved here. Epic has lots of revenue streams from engines, from games, from stores, from Quixel scans. Having more users ultimately contributes to all of these businesses growing. Even customers who never spend money contribute to its success through their engagement with those who do. So basically, their theory is we make game engine tools, we have a game store, we make game assets that we sell to people that make games and that have their stores, etc. People buy more games, we win. The fact that other people win, oh well. So it's kind of, again, rising tide lifts all boats, and that's what we are looking at here. So that is the excuse behind it. That is why this is all available for free. And the other thing that they kind of said, and this was said in a blog post or a tweet that I read like about a year ago, is apparently this stuff is dirt cheap. When you're doing it at scale, the cost of server usage, when you rolled out and built all your own servers, well, there's a reason why Amazon makes so much money off of AWS, and they can afford to give this stuff away for free because we've been getting fleeced for years, essentially. So again, that takes nothing away from what Epic is doing here, but they've got the economy of scale down that this stuff doesn't cost them what it would cost you or I if we were using our own, virtual hosting or paying for our own server instances or whatever. So back to what Epic Online Services bring to your game. Well, if you've got any kind of an online presence, there's certain things you're going to probably want. A leaderboard, matchmaking, friends list, that kind of stuff. Well, that's what we do here. The cool thing here is, see the engines supported? Unreal, Unity, Lumberyard, Godot, right on their page. So those are the upfronts. You can see how they support them. There's a pair of SDKs, and really from looking at the SDKs, you could also use it for your own custom game engine, for mono games, for construct, for whatever. If it's got an extensibility API, you could probably make it work here. I also see store-wise, Epic Games, Steam, Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, Windows, even Linux, Mac, and then again, the 2 mobile platforms are coming soon. You can mix and match, use which ones you want. You can integrate with their authentication, or you can use your own OpenID, or choose out-of-the-box integration with Apple, Discord, Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, Steam, or Epic Games. So if you want to have your own authentication server, bring it. You're using someone else's, bring it. Don't have one, want to use theirs, they got one. Connect your community across all platforms, built by game developers for game developers. This stuff has all been battle tested, of course, by Fortnite and other applications they're working on. And here you see what they've got and what they're providing. So lobbies is in preview, but we've got matchmaking, we've got peer-to-peer networking, which also includes the stuff for getting through firewalls and router setups. We've got achievement system, we've got statistics, leaderboards, player data storage, game analytics, and player ticketing. So even if you got like help desk requirements, that is covered as part of this. And then we get into the account services. That's your authentication side of things. You've got logins and friends lists. So if you want to use Epic's online friends list kind of community, they've got that stuff available there. Now, obviously, they would win by having that community get bigger. So the more people that have their login, that use their store or Fortnite or Epic, Unreal Engine logins, there's less traction to go ahead and use them. So there's a small win from this, but that's kind of about it. And then here you get into a little bit of the FAQ. You know what? It's pretty straightforward. It's going to go through what platforms they support and so on. We already covered a bit of why they are doing this, so let's kind of move on. And I'm going to showcase to you the world's most boring dashboard. And it's not boring because, it's not functional or anything. I just don't have any games on it, obviously. And I can't go through the process of creating a game just to demonstrate what online services would be like because, well, I'm not that much of a masochist. So what you're going to see here, this is the empty dashboard. You see here, if you've got Epic's Game Store integration, your details will be here. How many sales you've made, that kind of stuff. Your game services and game analytics are available here, and your account services are available here. Now, game services, you see things here like achievements, matchmaking, and so on. Analytics, you drill down here so you can see the number of players that are currently online, where they are, top cities that they're in, player retention, how long they come back for, and history details of it. So you can get drilled down and see how your online community is performing and so on. So that is kind of the details you get here. If you want more documentation, it is available, and then you can go here to the download of the SDK, and you're going to notice there are 2 SDKs available. There is this one and then a C# one. I bet you can guess what this one is, but we'll find out if you guessed right in just a second. Of course, you're going to have to create some SDK credentials so they know you are you when you log in or whatever, but that's way beyond the scope of what we're going to do here. So again, you have to register a product to really make this shine. I don't have a product to demonstrate, so just imagine there was a product here. So there's also the documentation. The documentation is quite thorough. You got a ton of detail here. I'll, of course, put all the appropriate links down below, so if you want to get in and learn more about it. This one is an authenticated portal, though. You do have to sign up to go in and get into this, so that is part of it. And yeah, you can see here we got pretty comprehensive documentation about how to use the SDK, how to use the SDKs in C#, how to use the Epic overlay if you so choose to do, how authentications work, social integration, and so on. And now move on to the SDKs. So I mentioned there are 2 of them. The C# one is pretty self-explanatory. It's C#. You can see here you've got the SDK here. And then the key thing is you've got a number of different samples. The samples are C# available as an SLN file. You see you got an example for common, authenticating, and using an overlay to make a purchase. And so there's your C# examples. You could use this out of the box in something like Unity or CryEngine or Godot. All have C# support, so with model games, so on. Or if you don't have support for those platforms, that is where the other SDK comes in. And I don't know if you guessed at this point what language this one is, but this one, again, the SDK is here, and then the samples are here. We'll drill it out into the samples. See here, once again, a solution. You got a lot more samples in that SDK. Here they show you how to do achievements, leaderboard, lobbies, peer-to-peer NAT punching. That's a weird sentence. We got player data storage, session matchmaking, simple framework, store usage, and so on. Again, the solution to show all of these together. Let's drill down one in here, and you go here to the source, and it is, yep, it's C++. So there you go. You got an SDK with a bunch of samples for C#, an SDK with a bunch of examples for C++, and between those two languages, that covers off pretty much everything that isn't JavaScript, basically. Yeah, it's interesting. I really do have to say I'm impressed with the way that they're going. And again, here's the full help. I didn't actually scroll down all the way. So yeah, there's a ton here. There's even documentation on how to use their ticketing system for help desk functionality. So if you needed to do an online back end for your game, this is hard to beat. There's this. I think Amazon provides some functionality. Microsoft has their PlayFab. There's been a bunch of other companies too that have been offering this kind of functionality, but sadly, a lot of them have just gone out of business, and then you're stuck. You've got a binary shipped out on like millions of iOS and Android devices that all of a sudden doesn't work because the back end that you chose went out of business. And I don't know. I trust that Epic Games is going to be around for at least 3 or 4 years, maybe more, maybe much, much more. As far as, a service that I could get behind and trust to last the lifetime of my game, this is probably one of the ones I would trust the most. Now, again, if I had a deep-seated distrust for Epic Games and Unreal Engine, and and some of the baggage that comes with it, like Tencent or whatever, I could see why you'd stay away from this, like with a 10-foot pole. But I don't have those hangups. If I needed online multiplayer right now, I would definitely consider this. I'll be interested to see also if there's going to be a Google-specific SDK done, a Godot-specific SDK done for this. I imagine there will be, to be honest, but I guess we will see. So that is it. That is Epic's online services available now, except for iOS and Android coming soon, and Lobby Matchmaking, which is currently in preview. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you all later. Goodbye.